The stars were cold and silent around her. Lyra floated inside her small black ship, staring at the blue planet below. Earth. Her silver eyes were full of hate. She hated that soft world. She hated the green forests and blue oceans she saw from space. She hated the strange human music that her scanners sometimes picked up. Most of all, she hated the humans. Humans had destroyed her world. At least, that's what she believed. Her people once lived on a bright moon called Solara. They were artists, dreamers, builders. Then the human fleets came and the sky burned. Lyra was only 12 when the war began. She watched her home turn to fire. She watched her mother fade away in the smoke. Now she was 20 and alone. Her mission was simple. She had come here to spy. She would scan Earth, map its defenses, and send the data to the last of her warlords. Then they would return, and they would burn this blue world like they burned hers. Lyra smiled bitterly. It felt cold on her face. Soon, she whispered, they will feel the pain I felt. Her hands danced across the glowing controls. The ship hummed as it circled Earth. Lines of light floated on her screens, energy grids, military signals, space traffic. She pressed record. Then, a sharp alarm screamed. Lyra's eyes flashed. What? A sudden storm of glowing rocks ripped through space ahead, micrometeorites. She had not seen them on the scans. They hit her ship like gunfire. Bang, bang, bang. The glass cracked. The engines coughed fire. The control board exploded in sparks. Lyra flew from her chair, hit the wall, and gasped in pain. The ship spun. Red warning lights blinked everywhere. Stabilizers offline, shields down, oxygen leaking, the computer said in her soft alien language. Earth grew bigger in the window. She was falling. Not like this, she whispered. She pressed buttons with bloody fingers. Nothing worked. Her ship dived into the top of Earth's atmosphere. The black turned to blazing orange. Flames licked the edges of her wings. Heat alarms screamed. The ship shook like a dying animal. Lyra's teeth clenched. She would not die on the world she hated. She would not. She slammed her hand on the radio. Emergency beacon, activate. But only static answered. Then, through the noise, a voice spoke. A human voice. Unknown craft, do you read me? You're burning up, hold on. I see you. Lyra froze. Her eyes went wide. The voice was calm, strong. It came from a human ship. Her enemy. I do not need help, she shouted. The voice came again. I'm coming. Stay with me. Don't close your eyes. A flash of light cut across the clouds. A small silver craft swooped down, chasing her like a hawk. Lyra's heart raced. Why would a human help her? Did they want to capture her? Torture her? The ship's wing tore away with a scream of metal. She cried out. The world outside spun. Blue, green, white, blue. Her head slammed against the seat. Stay awake, the human voice said. I can catch you before you hit the ground. I hate you, Lyra whispered. She tried to fight the pull of sleep. Her screen showed mountains below now. Wind howled. The ship shook harder. Pieces broke off and tumbled away. The human voice grew louder. I'm almost there. Just a few more seconds. Hold on. Lyra's vision blurred. Everything felt far away, like a dream. For one moment, she saw his craft fly beside her. She saw the pilot's face through the glass. A human man, brown eyes, focused, not angry, not cruel, just trying. Lyra's breath caught. The ground was rushing up. Then her ship hit the edge of a cliff. The world turned white. The sound of tearing metal screamed in her ears. Silence. Her body lay still inside the broken ship. Dust rose around her like smoke. Fire burned in pieces of the hull. The smell of fuel filled the air. Far above, the small silver craft circled like a bird of light. It slowed. It came down. Its landing gear touched. The sand near her crashed. Engines hissed and cooled. Lyra's eyes fluttered open. Her arms would not move. Her head ached. Footsteps crunched on stone. A shadow walked through the smoke. A tall figure in a pilot's suit, the human. He stopped a few steps away. He looked at her, not with hate, not with fear, just calm. And then he spoke. Hey, he said softly. You're safe now. I've got you. Lyra stared at him. Her vision blurred again. She wanted to say something sharp, something cruel. But no words came. Her eyes closed. Darkness pulled her down, and the last thing she heard was his voice again, quiet and steady. "I've got you." Dust floated like ghosts around the broken ship. Night had come to the desert, cold and silent. The stars above blinked like distant eyes. Lyra lay inside the twisted metal. Her body hurt everywhere. Her left wing arm was cut open, glowing faint blue blood. Her breathing mask was cracked. The air here felt heavy and dirty inside her chest. Her mind whispered, "Move, escape. Humans are near." She tried to stand. Pain shot through her side, sharp as fire. She fell back and gasped. Outside, footsteps crunched slowly on stone. She froze. Her eyes narrowed. She was not alone. The sound came closer. Closer. A figure stepped out of the smoke. Tall, in a dark pilot suit, the same human from the sky. He walked carefully, like someone approaching a wild animal. His hands were raised to show they were empty. Lyra hissed through her teeth. She reached to her side and pulled a small plasma blade from her belt. It hummed with cold blue light. "Stay back," she warned. Her voice shook, but her eyes burned. The human stopped a few steps away. He lifted his helmet visor. A human face, dust on his hair, brown eyes shining with focus. "I'm not here to fight," he said. His voice was steady and calm. Lyra's heart pounded. Why was he calm? Why Walu? Wasn't he afraid of her? Humans were supposed to fear her people. "You are my enemy," she said. "Then let me die." The human tilted his head. "You don't want that," he said softly. "You fought hard to stay alive up there." She blinked. She hated that his words made sense. The blade trembled in her hand. Her strength was fading. The human took one slow step forward. "I'm Ethan," he said. "I'm a pilot, and I don't leave people to die." "People," Lyra whispered. "I'm not a person to you." Ethan's eyes softened. "You are to me." Silence fell between them. Cold wind howled across the sand. Then Lyra's vision blurred. Her blade dropped from her hand. It hit the stone with a soft hiss. Ethan moved fast. He caught her before she hit the ground. Her body was light, thin like hollow glass. He could feel her heart beating fast against his chest. Lyra forced her eyes open. "Don't touch me," she whispered weakly. "Too late," Ethan said, almost smiling. He pulled a small round canister from his belt. He cracked it open, and warm green mist filled her mask. Fresh air, real air, made for her kind. Her lungs drank it greedily. Color returned to her cheeks. She blinked at him, confused. How do you have Solaran air?" Ethan set the canister down. "Your people used it when they worked on the Mars rings," he said. "Before the war, we kept some." Lyra stared at him. Her people helped build the Mars rings, long ago, before hate, before fire. Ethan lifted her gently and carried her out of the wreck. The night air was sharp and dry. The desert stretched wide and endless around them. His small silver craft waited nearby, its lights glowing like tiny suns. Lyra whispered, "Why save me? I would not save you." Ethan walked carefully over the rocks. "Because someone has to stop the circle," he said. "Someone has to choose something different." She didn't answer. Her he had rested against his shoulder. She watched the stars above him. They looked softer from down here. Ethan placed her inside the warm cabin of his ship. The air smelled clean, metallic. He wrapped a thin thermal blanket around her. She watched him silently. Her eyes followed his every move, searching for traps, lies, weapons, but he only checked her wounds with steady hands. He cleaned the glowing blood like it was nothing strange. He wrapped her arm gently, not too tight. "No broken bones," he murmured. "You're lucky." "Not lucky," Lyra said softly. "Just stubborn." That made Ethan laugh once, quietly. It was not cruel. It was real. Lyra looked away quickly, as if the sound burned. Ethan moved to the controls. The engines hummed low. The craft rose gently from the sand. Lyra pressed her head to the window. She saw the wreck of her old ship below, small and broken. Smoke still curled into the stars. That ship was her mission, her hate, her whole plan. Now it was only ash. She felt hollow, and she hated how safe she felt sitting in this human ship. Ethan spoke without looking back. "You need rest. My hangar is far from any city. No one will find you there." "You trust me?" she asked. Her voice was almost a whisper. "I trust myself," Ethan said. "And I trust what I see. I see someone who doesn't want to die tonight. Lyra didn't answer. She closed her eyes and let the hum of the engines carry her away from the fire. Outside, the desert faded behind them. Stars slid past like glowing snow. And for the first time in years, Lyra wasn't running toward war. She was being carried away from it. The hangar was dark and silent when night came. The smell of cold metal and old fuel floated in the air. Ethan's ship rested in the corner like a sleeping bird. Lyra sat inside a small maintenance room, staring at the wall. She could not sleep. Her wounds were almost healed. Her strength was returning fast, too fast for her liking, because strength meant choices, and choices were dangerous. She told herself she had to finish her mission. She had to, find a way to contact her warlords. She had to send Earth's coordinates. That was why she came. That was the reason she survived. But her hands would not move to build the transmitter. Her mind kept echoing with a human voice. I've got you. She hated how it replayed in her head, calm and steady, like a song she could not erase. Ethan had gone out earlier to buy supplies. He had said, stay inside. Humans aren't ready to see you. Then he smiled, and for a second it almost felt like he was joking. But Lyra did not like cages, even safe ones. So when the moon rose, she slipped from the hangar's back door and walked into the Earth night. Cold air wrapped around her. It smelled strange, wet grass, warm soil, wind from far away. Nothing like the dead stone moon she grew up on. The ground felt soft under her boots. The stars above were quiet and bright. Far away, the lights of a human town glowed like fallen constellations. Lyra moved silently, her hood up, her eyes glowing faint silver. She expected the world to feel hostile, angry, full of war machines. Instead, she found a small park. Dark green grass covered the ground like a soft blanket. Trees stood tall and gentle, their leaves whispering in the wind. Lyra stopped. Her chest felt tight. Her people once had trees too. They were all ash now. She walked slowly through the park. Lights flickered in the windows of nearby houses. She heard soft music from one open door, a piano, slow and sad. She had never heard music that sounded like sadness before. Her people only played music during victory or celebration. This sound was different. It made her throat feel heavy. Then she saw them. Children. 3 small human children were chasing glowing insects through the grass. They laughed, bright, loud, wild. Their laughter echoed like bells. One fell down and laughed harder. The others helped them up, still laughing. Lyra froze behind a tree. She could not look away. They were so small, so soft, so alive. No one was shouting orders. No one was afraid. No one was killing anyone. This was the enemy? Her chest felt strange, like something cracking open. She whispered to herself, they do not look like monsters. A sound behind her made her spin fast. Her blade was in her hand before she thought, but it was only a black cat. It sat on the stone path and stared at her with golden eyes. Lyra blinked. The cat blinked back. Strange creature, she murmured. The cat walked closer, tail high. It rubbed against her boot like she was a tree. Lyra stood frozen. She had fought war machines, dodged plasma fire, flown through storms. But this small, furry animal touching her felt like the most shocking thing of all. The cat purred softly. Lyra crouched slowly. Her fingers touched its fur. Warm. Alive. The cat purred louder. Lyra felt something soft move inside her chest, something she didn't recognize. It was not hate, not fear, not anger. She stood quickly and stepped back. Her voice shook. No, this means nothing. This world is still dangerous. This is only camouflage. But the words sounded weak, even to her. The cat yawned and walked away. Its tail waved like a small flag of peace. Lyra watched it vanish into the shadows. She returned to the hangar hours later. The night was fading. The first edge of sunlight painted the sky soft pink. Inside, Ethan was sitting on the floor near the door. He had fallen asleep, waiting for her. A half-empty mug of tea sat beside his hand. Lyra paused in the doorway. She should feel proud that she escaped without him knowing. Instead, she only felt strange. She walked quietly past him and sat on the far side of the room. She stared at her hands. They were hands made to fight. Hands trained to destroy. But tonight they had touched grass, and fur, and silence. She remembered the laughter of the children. It still echoed in her head like soft bells. She pressed her palms to her face. "I do not understand this planet," she whispered. "I do not understand these humans." Ethan stirred and blinked awake. His voice was rough from sleep. "Couldn't sleep either?" Lyra didn't look at him. She only said quietly, "Your world is too quiet." Ethan smiled tiredly. "That's the point." Lyra turned her face away so he would not see her confusion. She did not want him to see how her hate was cracking. That night, Lyra planned to send her warlords the coordinates, but when she opened the transmitter screen, she only stared at it for a long, silent hour, and she did not press send. Sunlight poured through the high windows of the hangar, bright and golden. Dust floated in the light like tiny stars. Ethan sat on the floor beside a toolbox. Lyra sat across from him, her legs crossed, her arms folded like shields. Between them lay a datapad glowing with words. "Try this one," Ethan said gently. He pointed to the screen. A word appeared in bold. "Hello." Lyra tilted her head. Her silver eyes narrowed. She spoke slowly, the sound hard and sharp in her mouth. "Hello." Ethan smiled. "Good. That means greetings. Peace." "Why do humans need a word for peace?" Lyra asked. Her voice was soft but carried a sharp edge. "Because we forget it sometimes," Ethan said. "Words help us remember." Lyra looked at the datapad again. The next word was friend. She stared at it a long time. Her lips moved, but no sound came. Her throat felt locked. Ethan waited quietly. He didn't push her. Lyra looked away. "I do not need this word," she said. "There is no space for friends in war." Ethan set the datapad down. "Then maybe you should learn it more than any other," he said softly. For the next few days, they worked side by side in silence. Ethan repaired his small craft. Lyra cleaned her damaged armor. Sometimes she watched him when he wasn't looking. He moved like someone who had done this all his life, careful, calm, steady. He never raised his voice. He never reached for a weapon. It confused her. Humans were supposed to be loud, chaotic, angry. But Ethan worked like the stars moved, quiet and patient. One afternoon, he called her over. "Come on, I want to show you something." Lyra frowned. "If it is human music again, no." Ethan chuckled. "Not music. Flying." Outside, the desert sun burned white in the sky. Ethan's silver craft sat ready on the flat sand. He opened the cockpit door and nodded. "You sit here." Lyra blinked. "You want me to fly your machine?" "Not fly. Learn," he said. "Trust me, I won't let you crash." Lyra almost laughed. She had flown through firestorms, asteroid fields, plasma wars, and he thought she feared crashing. Still, something warm and strange stirred inside her at his words. "I won't let you crash." She climbed in. The controls were simple compared to her ship, heavy and human-made. Her fingers moved over them like shadow. Ethan sat behind her. "Okay, gently lift, just like I showed you." The engines hummed. The craft rose slowly, soft as a breath. Wind swept across the sand. The desert grew small beneath them. The horizon stretched wide and endless. Lyra's lips parted. It was not war, not fire, just sky. Ethan's voice was close behind her. "You're doing fine." For a moment, she forgot she hated him. For a moment, she only felt the freedom of flight. When they landed, the sun was bleeding red across the dunes. Lyra stepped down slowly, her heart still high above the clouds. She looked at Ethan. His eyes shone with quiet pride. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. That night, they sat by the open hangar door. Stars burned above them like cold fire. Ethan held a small paper cup of tea. Lyra held nothing. "You don't sleep much," Ethan said. "My people do not need long sleep," she answered. "Dreams are dangerous." Ethan nodded like he understood. "I used to dream of the war every night," he said softly. "I lost my sister in it. She was a medic." Lyra turned her head sharply. Her chest tightened. She had lost her mother the same way, helping the wounded when the sky burned. She said nothing. But something heavy inside her shifted, like a door unlocking. "I was told humans wanted war," she said quietly. "That you wanted to burn everything." Ethan stared at the stars. "I wanted the war to end," he said. "Most of us did. We just didn't know how." Silence wrapped around them. Cool wind moved through the hangar. Somewhere far away, an owl called softly. Lyra's voice was almost a whisper. If the war ends, what do you become? Ethan looked at her. His eyes were steady. Alive, he said simply. They stayed there until the stars began to fade. Lyra didn't notice her shoulders had relaxed. She didn't notice her hands had stopped shaking. She only noticed that for the first time, sitting next to a human didn't feel like standing next to a blade. Later, when Ethan fell asleep in his chair, Lyra stood quietly and watched him breathe. She thought of the word she could not say before. Friend. Her mouth shaped it silently. It felt strange on her tongue, but not impossible. And far across the hangar, her hidden transmitter sat in the shadows, still silent, still unsent. Night returned like a black ocean. The hangar lights were dim, humming low. Ethan was asleep again, head resting on his folded arms at the workbench. Lyra stood near the far wall, silent as a shadow. She stared at her hidden transmitter. It sat inside a cracked metal box, cold, waiting. If she touched it, it would blink alive and call the warlords. Her people would come. They would burn this blue planet like they burned her moon. That was the plan. That had always been the plan. But her hands stayed still. Instead, her mind replayed the sound of children laughing in the park. The smell of trees. The quiet way Ethan said, I won't let you crash. Her chest feet felt like a storm. She whispered to herself, what am I doing? And then the air changed. Cold. Heavy. She felt it before she heard it, a sharp buzz in her ears, like teeth on glass. She turned fast. Above the hangar roof, the sky split open. 3 black shapes fell from the stars, silent and fast as knives. Alien ships, her people. They landed outside with a hiss of burning air. Their wings folded like sharp blades. Blue fire lit the sand under them. The hangar doors shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Ethan jerked awake, eyes wide. What? Lyra grabbed his arm. Hide, now. What is it? He asked. My people, she said. Her voice was cold stone. They found me. The doors exploded inward with a scream of steel. Smoke filled the air. Shadows stepped through it. 3 Solaran warriors, tall, armor glowing faint blue like moonlight. Their eyes burned silver in the dark. Lyra, said the leader. His voice was deep, sharp as ice. We thought you were dead. Lyra stood still, shoulders tight. I survived. You were meant to send the coordinates, he said. Where is the message? Ethan crouched behind the workbench, silent, hidden. His hand hovered near a small human blaster, but he didn't move. Lyra's heart pounded. Her people, her blood, her past, and behind her, Ethan, the human who saved her life. The leader stepped closer. You will come with us. The warlords wait. Earth must burn. Lyra's breath came fast and shallow. She remembered her mother's scream when the sky fell. She remembered children laughing in the park. She remembered Ethan's quiet eyes. She said. Her voice cracked. I am not going. The warriors froze. The leader's eyes narrowed. You speak like them now. I have seen this world, Lyra said. It is not what they told us. Humans are not what they told us. They are liars, the leader snapped. They killed your family. So did the war, Lyra said softly. So did we. A long silence. The air buzzed like a wire ready to snap. Then the leader raised his arm. Then you are a traitor. He moved fast. Flash of blue. Lyra blocked the strike with her blade. Sparks cracked through the air. The other 2 warriors lunged toward Ethan. Ethan dove from cover and rolled, grabbing the blaster. Energy bolts screamed across the hangar. Lyra fought like fire. Her blade flashed in sharp arcs. She drove the warriors back, feet sliding on metal. Go, she shouted at Ethan. Get out! Not leaving you, he yelled back. He fired again, ducked behind a crate as blue plasma tore through the wall. The hangar filled with smoke and light. Metal screamed. Flames sparked from broken wires. Lyra's old commander snarled. You would kill your own blood for a human? I would save the one who saved me, she said. Their blades clashed again, shockwaves cracking the floor. Lyra twisted, fast and silent. She struck his armor. Blue sparks flew. He staggered back, hissing. Ethan leaped from cover and hit the panel to open the hangar roof. The metal doors split wide. Cold night air rushed in. Lyra, he shouted. Up! She kicked off the floor, wings flaring from her armor. She grabbed Ethan's arm, pulled him up as her boots ignited with white fire. They shot through the roof like a comet. Flames trailed behind them. Below, the three warriors leapt into their ships, engines roaring. They launched into the sky after her. Lyra and Ethan streaked over the desert, wind screaming in their ears. Ethan held on to her shoulders. "Plan," he yelled. "Survive," she shouted back. Laser fire cut the night. Blue bolts tore past them like falling stars. Sand exploded below. Ethan pointed. "Mountains! There!" They dove. The alien ships followed, engines howling. Rocks shattered as plasma slammed into the cliffs. Lyra weaved between stone arches, twisting sharp, wild, and fast. She had not flown like this in years. For a moment, she almost smiled. Then one blast grazed her side. She gasped. "Spin!" And Ethan grabbed her waist, steadying her. "You okay?" he shouted. "Yes," she hissed. "Keep holding on." They shot through the last canyon and burst into open sky, far behind. The alien ships slowed, falling back. They turned away, fading into the darkness. Lyra hovered high in the cold wind, chest heaving. Ethan was still gripping her tight. "They will return," she whispered. "Then we'll be ready," Ethan said. Lyra looked down at him. His face was set like stone, but his eyes were warm. She had chosen. It was done. She was no longer theirs. She was no longer only Solaran. And when the war came again, she knew which side she would stand on. The desert was silent again, but it was not peace, only the cold before a storm. Lyra and Ethan sat inside a hidden cave. Their clothes were torn. Dust clung to their skin. The glow of a small fire lit their faces. Neither spoke for a long time. Outside, the night wind howled through the rocks. "They will come back," Ethan said quietly. His voice was calm, but his hands trembled. "Yes," Lyra said. Her silver eyes caught the firelight. "They will come, and they will not stop this time." Ethan stared at the flames. "So, we fight." Lyra tilted her head, watching him. "You're only human. You could run." Ethan smiled faintly. "Running isn't my style." Something in her chest tightened. For the first time in years, someone was willing to stand with her, not because they feared her, but because they trusted her. She looked down at her cracked gauntlets. Her armor was weak. Her wings were burned at the edges, but her spirit had never been stronger. She nodded once. "Then we fight." The next morning, they began to build. The cave became their war room. They spread maps on the rock floor. Ethan marked air routes and defense towers. Lyra sketched the alien ships from memory, sleek, fast, armed with starfire cannons. "They will come in a V formation," she said. "The leader will stay at the back. Strike him, and the others will lose command." "Like cutting the head off a snake," Ethan said. They worked side by side, hands stained with oil and sand. Ethan built a rail cannon from old launch parts. Lyra rewired the power cells with alien tech. They turned scrap wings into gliders, filled the cliffs with hidden mines, and buried explosives in the canyon floor. Hours turned into days. They hardly slept. They spoke in short words and quick nods. Slowly, a strange rhythm grew between them, a silent understanding like two blades learning to move as one. The night of the battle came. The moon was pale and sharp. The air was cold enough to bite. Lyra stood on the cliff's edge, her repaired armor glowing soft white. Ethan stood beside her in a flight suit, helmet under his arm, rail blaster across his back. Far above, the stars were too quiet. The silence made her skin crawl. "They are late," Ethan said. "They are watching," Lyra answered, waiting for fear. She lifted her face to the sky. "I am not afraid." Then the stars moved. Black shapes slid from the darkness, silent as sharks. 7 alien ships, sharp as knives, cut through the clouds. The storm had come. The ships dove like arrows. Engines screamed. Blue fire tore the sky. "Positions!" Ethan shouted. Hidden mines rose from the sand. Gliders snapped open their wings. Energy cannons powered up with a deep hum. The first ship hit the minefield. White fire bloomed. Sand exploded like a wave. The ship spun out, slammed into a cliff, and shattered. The others swerved hard, firing blue plasma down on the canyon. Rocks blew apart. Flames rose. The air became sharp with burning metal. Lyra launched from the cliff. Her wings flared like silver knives. She streaked through the fire, fast as lightning. She shot past one ship, spun in the air, and drove her blade into its wing. The ship screamed as it spun down in a trail of fire. "Nice hit!" Ethan's voice crackled in her ear. She banked hard, eyes locked on the leader at the back, the same commander from before. His armor glowed cold blue inside the ship's canopy. He watched her like a hawk. Ethan's rail cannon roared. A streak of white fire cut across the sky. One of the ships exploded in midair, shards raining down like burning stars. Two others dove at Ethan's cliff. "Move!" Lyra shouted. He ran, rolling as plasma tore the rock behind him. Dust swallowed him whole. Then his blaster flashed, and one enemy ship crashed into the sand below. Lyra twisted through the chaos. Energy bolts scorched the air around her. Her armor cracked. Her side burned where fire grazed her. She ignored the pain. She had only one target now, the commander. He cut through the fight like a blade, never rushing, never missing. His cannons tracked her every move. "Lyra," Ethan said in her ear, breathless. "If we take him down, they break." "I know," she said. Her eyes were cold steel. She dove at full speed. Wind screamed in her ears. The commander turned, cannons blazing. Bolts ripped past her, so close they burned her wings. She didn't slow. At the last moment, she folded her wings and shot under his ship, slashing her blade across its belly. Blue fire erupted. The ship spun wild, smoke pouring from its side. "Now, Ethan!" she shouted. Ethan stood on the highest rock, rail cannon glowing white-hot. He pulled the trigger. The shot ripped the air apart. It tore straight through the commander's ship. The ship split in two. Flames swallowed the sky. The other alien ships froze midair. Then, without their leader, they turned and fled, vanishing into the stars. Silence. The desert was broken and burning. Pieces of star metal lay smoking on the sand. Wind howled through shattered rocks. Lyra floated down, armor cracked, and landed beside Ethan. He dropped the cannon and sat on the ground, laughing in pure exhaustion. "You're crazy," he said. "You too," she said and smiled faintly. They looked at the burning sky. The battle was over. But both of them knew this was only the beginning. The desert was quiet again. Too quiet. Lyra stood on the edge of the broken canyon. Ash and twisted metal lay across the sand like scars. Smoke rose in thin black lines toward the cold dawn sky. The stars were fading, but she knew what hid behind them. They were coming. All of them. Ethan walked up beside her, holding a cracked helmet. His flight suit was scorched, but his eyes were steady. "Scouts saw something," he said. "Big, coming from orbit." "How big?" she asked. He swallowed. "A fleet." Lyra closed her eyes. She could almost feel the tremble in the air, the faint hum of Solaran war engines pushing through the void. Thousands of ships, towers of fire, her people's full might. They would burn this world clean. And this time, nothing would stop them. They returned to the cave. Screens flickered with static. Maps glowed red with invasion paths. Outside, human soldiers worked silently, building new walls, loading old cannons. Everyone was tired. No one was ready. Lyra placed her hands on the table. Her claws trembled. "This is not a battle," she said. "This is extinction." Ethan looked at her. "Then tell them not to come." Her head snapped up. "They will not listen." "Make them listen," Ethan said. "Talk to them. You're one of them." "I was," she whispered. Her voice cracked. "I don't know what I am now." Ethan stepped closer. "You are the one who saved me, the one who saved all of us. That's who you are." Lyra stared at him for a long moment. Something warm rose in her chest. Then she nodded slowly. "I will try." That night she climbed the highest cliff. Wind tore at her armor. Stars burned cold above her. She placed her hands on the old transmitter. Its metal skin was cracked. Her claws pressed into the cold surface. She took a deep breath and sent the signal. A single note rose into the sky, sharp, bright, ancient. It cut through the clouds and vanished into space. She waited. The air grew colder. The stars dimmed. Then space opened. A crack of light split the sky. A ship descended, massive, black, shaped like a dagger. Its shadow covered half the desert. It was the flagship, the warlord's throne. The ship landed with a quake that shook the earth. Dust billowed. The ground split. A ramp unfolded. A figure stepped out. The Solaran warlord, armor black as dead stars, eyes silver as ice, taller than any human, and silent as a blade. Lyra stood her ground. The warlord's voice was deep, hollow. "Lyra of the Ash Moon," he said, "you were sent to guide our fire. Instead, you raise your claws to shield the enemy." "I saw them," Lyra said. "They are not what we were told. They are not monsters. They killed our kin," he said. "We killed theirs," she replied. A long silence. The wind howled between them. "You are broken," the warlord said. "Return to us. Bring down the shield. Let the fire fall." Lyra's claws tightened. Her wings trembled. Old voices filled her head. Her mother's scream, the burning of her moon, the silence of space. Then new voices came, children laughing in the park, Ethan saying, "I won't let you crash," humans fighting beside her, bleeding, not running. She lifted her head, her eyes burned bright. No. The word was soft, but it rang like a blade. "I will not burn this world," she said. "I will protect it." The warlord tilted his head. "Then you are no Solaran." "Maybe not," Lyra said. "Maybe I am something new." The warlord raised one hand. Stars seemed to darken. "Then die with them." He stepped forward. His armor glowed like blue fire. His claws flashed. Lyra drew her blade. Wings flared white. She roared and charged. Their clash split the sky. Shockwaves blasted the cliffs. Sand exploded in rings around them. Energy ripped the air apart. Ethan watched from below, heart pounding. The ground shook with every strike. Lyra fought like living lightning. She was faster than she had ever been. Her blade rang like thunder. The warlord was stronger. Very blow, like a hammer of stars. He drove her back, step by step, until her feet dug into the rock. But she would not fall. With a scream, she fainted left, then dove under his guard and drove her blade into his chest. Light burst like a supernova. The warlord staggered. Cracks of silver light spread across his armor. He stared at her, silent. Then he fell. The ground went still. The air cooled. High above, the Solaran fleet paused in the sky. Then, one by one, their engines dimmed. They turned away, vanishing into the black. Lyra stood alone on the cliff, blade still glowing, armor cracked, breathing like fire. Ethan climbed to her side. He was smiling, though his eyes were wet. "You did it," he whispered. "No," Lyra said softly. "We did." The first light of dawn broke over the desert. Gold spilled across the broken sand. The war was over. Lyra was no longer a weapon, no longer a ghost of a dead world. She was something else now. A bridge between stars, a protector of this blue planet, and for the first time in her life, she felt at peace.